Hey, welcome to Filler. I'm Joe.
And I'm Steve.
And this is our podcast where we talk about the media that fills our cups. Steve, how are you on this 80-plus degree weather day?
I'm sweating. I'm full of snot from my allergies because even our trees are a patriarchy. I don't know. That's a dumb joke.
Poor guy's getting the allergies so bad. Joke's not even hitting.
Yep. I'm really hoping this is where the intro music is still playing, so you can't hear me. So we just move on. Anyway, no. There is a very good thing though that's kept me kind of almost on cloud nine for the last almost week now.
Oh yeah. You saw Haley Williams, right?
I did, but the day before I got engaged. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, take it or leave,
congratulations.
No, thank you. Oh yeah, you saw Haley Williams too, but maybe that could be its whole episode.
How was your engagement?
Well, it was funny because I made it super obvious to my partner Allison, but there was still some fun tiptoeing around it. I wasn't really hiding it at all, but she definitely figured it out. I knew she had figured it out, and then the day before, she just straight up asked me, and she was like, we had her sister involved in it. She and I secretly planned this whole mini Hanami celebration to go see the cherry blossoms in Central Park. And she just asked her sister, is he going to propose? And she's like, no. And Allison believed that. And then it made her sad. And then when I asked what's wrong, she's like, are you not going to propose to me? I'm like, what do you want me to say? So I just had to tell her the truth. And then the whole thing became her helping me find a good spot to do it. Because
really
there's too many
sweet,
fucking people at the park, and we were looking for a good spot with good, so we could take good pictures. But it all worked out. She still cried, and that just warmed my heart that she was so excited to spend the rest of her life with me, because that's how I feel about her. And now, we get to plan an engagement party and try to do a nice small wedding, hopefully next fall. Not committing any plans just yet, because this is on the internet forever. But this ring has been sitting in my desk for a year and a half, and I've tried at least 2 other times to propose, and the plans always fell through. So to finally have it now, it's not in hiding, it's on her finger, and we get to stare at it together and just kind of, I don't know, feel this excitement and refresh in a time that is just really tough on everybody. It's nice to have something to look forward to and reconnect with the things that matter at our core, and one of them being each other.
I'm very happy for you both. And the pictures were lovely, and it was fun to be on the other side of your texts as that week was going on, and hearing out about your plans and your anxieties about the weather, despite the weather being beautiful and perfect.
I know, it was a perfect day
days
for
in
it.
advance. Yeah. I'm glad it went so well, and you created some nice memories. It sounds like it was extremely magical.
Okay, I guess that's the segue. It's just funny because the segue was going to be, speaking of my partner, she doesn't get that I like Magic the Gathering so much.
If you could not tell, dear listener, that today's episode is about Steve's love for both Allison and Magic the Gathering, well, now you know that it is.
But I'm going to talk way more about one of those things.
So we're here today to talk about you loving Magic and how you got into Magic, this trading card game.
Yeah.
Why Magic and why not Yu-Gi-Oh? Why not Pokemon? Why not Flesh and Blood or One Piece or anything else,
Well, One Piece is kind of tempting just because the show's so good, but Flesh and Blood, I don't really know anything about it, and I'm not going to get into Riftbound. I've tried League of Legends one time in college, and I'll never touch it again. I still haven't even watched Arcane. I feel like that property is poison. But Yu-Gi-Oh was an obsession of mine as a kid. And I had a bunch of Pokemon cards because, as we talked about in our last episode, like Pokemon was a major part of my childhood and is still one of my favorite things, despite how much it abuses me. But the cards, it never really clicked. I never really got into playing the game. I collected some of the cards, but I didn't really know what I was doing or why. But Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid was like everything to me. I was obsessed. And like, this is from like maybe 2nd to 5th grade. I was like obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, the anime was big at the time, and I would collect the cards and get like the booster packs and the starter decks and the tins. Do you remember the tins?
I love the tins. I
The
used
tins
to
are
get
sick.
so many booster packs just to shove into those tins.
Exactly.
So much. Were you a Dark Magician or a Blue Eyes White Dragon guy?
Both, but Blue Eyes first.
Nice.
Yeah, there was just, I mean, I don't know. I imagined being like Kaiba and having Spiroli Corp. It's weird how much children's media has like billionaires as these like things to aspire to, like Kaiba or Bruce Wayne. Blue Eyes was like the coolest. And so when I got the starter deck for Kaiba and it had a Blue Eyes, that was like, it felt special, you know? But the problem was I was an only child, so I was just kind of sitting around looking at the cards and like teaching myself how to play so I could play against myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, playing the video games. Like there was one on the PS1 and the Game Boy Color, and like I had a bunch of stuff. There's this terrible one on the GameCube, and it was an obsession to the point where my parents took away my Yu-Gi-Oh cards during the school year. So they were worried about my grades and it taking attention away from studying. So I wasn't allowed to play with my Yu-Gi-Oh cards until the summer. And then I'd have to put them back when the school year started, which, I was diagnosed later with ADHD, but we never really knew if I was somewhere on the autism spectrum. Mm-hmm. And I have complicated feelings about what it means when you take a kid's special interest away from them because you think you're helping them focus, but it's really just cutting out something that
makes them happy
and clearly satisfies something in them that nothing else really gives them. Sure, it was an obsession. There was a need to separate and like move on, but there was just a feeling with playing Yu-Gi-Oh that I didn't even know I was missing until a semester of college where half my friend group went abroad. So that was like half the members of my band at the time and like a bunch of our friends. So the rest of us that were all in our apartment block, we're all just kind of looking at each other and we're like, well, there's no band, there's no shows, we can't really have as many parties. A lot of our friends are abroad this semester. What are we going to do all semester? It's the winter in Syracuse. What do we do? Mm-hmm. And then my friend Joey, ironically, goes, hey, when was the last time y'all played Yu-Gi-Oh? And apparently he had never stopped. So he pulls out this like shoebox full of cards and is just like, I think this would be fun to get back into. So I immediately fell down the rabbit hole. I got like a new structure deck of Monarchs and started looking up cards and buying singles on Amazon just to like build out my deck and like improve it. And then I built another one, a Melodious deck, and it was all coming back to me and it became this obsession again. But this time I was in college and I had my own time and money that I could spend to, just play with my friends in our apartments, but it felt so natural to get back into.
How long did you stay with it? Because granted, I met you when you were in your mid to late 20s, but you didn't seem like a Yu-Gi-Oh guy when I met you.
No, because I kind of gave it up again.
Why?
I don't know. I just, I had to focus on some other stuff like school, but also what I want to do career-wise. I was getting really into like building up my movie collection and my like understanding of movies so I could write them. And then, moved out to LA and it just kind of got away from me. Also, I just didn't feel like, buying the singles and getting into like I recognized the the pattern there, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, I should keep this in check. So I just kind of forgot about it, but always wanted to get back to it. But, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh's not really the easiest thing to find games in, and they're always adding like crazy new mechanics. Like I know Magic seems complicated in the new mechanics they add, but Yu-Gi-Oh creates entire new like summon systems and gameplay rules and things that are so complicated. And having played both, I definitely think Magic makes more sense. I didn't feel the need to keep going with it.
So then how did you find your way to Magic?
Well, I had tried it once. I think it was sophomore year on a spring break. I was down in...
Out of context, this sounds like you're talking about drugs. I tried it once on spring break.
I said never again, but it just got its hooks back in me. I don't know what that voice was. So my friend Sean and I were at his parents' house in Maryland for a spring break, and he randomly was like, do you want to try to learn how to play Magic the Gathering? I was like, okay, yeah. And this was before the whole semester where I was obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't know why we didn't just like look up more YouTube videos and stuff to like try and figure out how to play it, but we could not like teach each other, you know? So we just kind of gave up. So I just put him in a box and like forgot about him, but never got rid of him. And I always thought in the back of my mind, like, you know, Magic's been around longer than any trading card game. I would love to learn this. I feel like this would be a really fun thing to do. And if you're going to play any of them, like do the OG, the one that's not tied to some other kind of property.
Right.
Well, ironically, in June of 2025, the Final Fantasy set came out, and I had previously tried getting into the Final Fantasy trading card game because, yes, they have their own and did a Magic set, but nobody played it and nobody cares. So I just had like a bunch of cards I didn't know what to do with, and I was just like, these are cool to look at, and that's it. But it just seemed like the right moment that Final Fantasy and Magic, it's like it's an established game. There's going to be plenty of resources to learn how to play it, and then there's my angle of how it could keep my interest, right?
Yeah.
And that was all I thought it was going to be at first. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to get into this for the Final Fantasy cards, you know, I'll just collect a bunch of those. I don't even know what format I'm going to play. I didn't even know there were different formats. I didn't know the difference between Commander or Standard or anything sealed. Then I start following different, you know, YouTubers and social media influencers that are all into Magic. And I start practicing how to play it on Arena, the app on my phone. And I'm like, oh, this is fun outside of Final Fantasy. And then just slowly I started getting interested in other things that were coming out since, like, oh, there's a Spider-Man set and it's bad, and I understand the game well enough to know that it's bad. And then there's an Avatar set and it's good, and I know that it's good.
So the properties of, I don't think we use the phrase, but it's universes beyond, right?
Yes, that is what they call the outside IP that they put in Magic.
Right. So they're using Final Fantasy worked on you, because that was your fandom prior to, and you were like, yeah, that's going to be my inroads.
Yeah, and apparently I was not alone, because Final Fantasy became the fastest and biggest selling Magic set ever.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, because it's not just a popular property, because Spider-Man's also a very popular property, but you can tell the difference when a property actually fits in Magic and when it doesn't, because Final Fantasy is magical. It is a fantasy. So it feels very natural next to the worlds of, you know, Ravnica and Dominaria and Innistrad and all kinds of different things that they've made over the 33 years that it's been around. Where Spider-Man is just like, this is the magical plane of New York City, and this card is called Bagel and Schmear.
It's too close to home.
And it's like you almost had something with the Spider-Man like multiverse stuff of the different Spider-Men and alternate realities and things like that. And like there's a lot of fantasy and sci-fi elements that could work. It just was not a well thought out set. But that's a bunch of nitpicking that is so interesting that within less than a year, I have gone from, okay, I'm going to play Magic just for Final Fantasy to there's too many universes beyond.
Right.
Where's like the original? Where's like the in-universe sets? Like, when are we going back to Lorwyn? Like, and we did, and now I'm excited for Strixhaven. It's coming out like real soon. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get into a bunch of bits of that, but basically, Magic seems to be the perfect blend of like getting in touch with my childhood and like unlocking that part of my brain that loves strategy and deck building and the collecting of it, you know, just putting cards in sleeves and then like organizing them by color and mana value and everything. It gives you so much, right? Like so much that's great for ADHD, you know, whether it's organizing or coming up with optimal strategies, balancing the colors and make sure you have the right amount of mana for each color you're using in the deck. Like, it does like a little of everything for me. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this started a month after I turned 30.
Why?
I think there's something about like just like where we are in the world and how that affects people's psyches and how I am grappling with aging.
Like you were looking for some sort of like comfort or nostalgia or something like that, or feeding your inner child. Like,
yeah, well, definitely that. And there's studies on how collectibles tend to go up in value and purchases and whatnot. Like they're bought more and they're traded more during economic downturns.
oh,
It's almost like people are choosing these little momentary dopamine boosts.
Yeah.
These little things they can focus on that keep their focus like small, away from the big scary problems of the world. And I very much feel like that because I'll be up until 2 a.m. organizing decks and trying to I feel like a kid again, you know. I feel like an only child that's just lost in the world of putting these cards together and imagining games that I would like to play if anyone else would play with me.
You say that so sadly when I've played games with you and I went to the Spider-Man release with you.
Yeah. I'm sorry that was your first pre-release. That's a really rough. But I figured, you know, you love Spider-Man, you love comic books and heroes, like maybe it would have the same effect for you that Final Fantasy did for me. It just so happened Final Fantasy was an actually good set and Spider-Man wasn't.
No, but it did work out.
Yeah, I'm glad you haven't given up on it because of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've talked about it since then because I'm like a big fantasy and speculative fiction and sci-fi person. So you and I have gone back and forth a ton about all the lore, talking about like the business behind Universes Beyond and pulling in new players with balancing the actual quote unquote story of Magic to the point where like I don't think I'm as far deep as you are. In terms of knowing everything. But I think you and I were on similar levels when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh! But with Magic, I'm still working my way into Magic. And more that I learn about it and the more that I play with you and at events and whatnot, the more and more I get into it. So like you and I are going to like the Strixhaven event that's coming up in next week.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. Like we were just talking off before we started recording about how I bought a couple booster packs today just on a whim when I was picking up my comics for the week. And I got some Lore and Eclipse and I was like, man, those are cool cards. I wish I went to that pre-release event, but that's their actual IP. That's their lore. It's not the Universes Beyond, like Star Trek that's upcoming and TMNT and just
oh god.
It's too
Star
it's too
Trek
much.
might be cool because Edge of Eternities was really cool and that was a sci-fi thing, but that was in universe.
Yeah.
The one outside IP or Universes Beyond one that's coming out this year that I'm excited for is The Hobbit because
that's fantasy adjacent.
Yeah, and they had done Lord of the Rings a few years ago, and that was the previous highest selling Magic thing. But this is the first time those cards can be reprinted because it's basically the same property. And now it'll be standard legal because before Universes Beyond wasn't in the standard format, which is like a rotating format that only sets up to a few years old are included. So like you can age out as new ones come in.
Which kind of explains why you keep buying cards. Like you'll never have It's messed up, but like we talk so much on this about capitalism, about media, about like franchises and IP and all this stuff, but you can never have enough Magic cards. They literally built it into the system that you're not allowed to use them in some cases, right?
Yeah. Depends on the format, but also that, there's ban lists for different formats. There's also the problem of there just being too much of it and power creep, in that the cards themselves do more and more things now. So like the floor is higher, right, for what a basic card is. And so a lot of older stuff just does not hold up to the level of play that we're at now. And that can be very hard for a new player. I'm speaking about this like I've been around for years, but I'm kind of just taking this in from the people I follow that have been around for years and what I've learned from them. That something like Universes Beyond is so good for getting new players, but then the environment they're entering into is not new player friendly. There's not a lot of things that make it easy to learn how to play the game. There's not a lot of low power stuff to just play basically. And there's too many mechanics and too much history to get somebody caught up, especially when the most popular format by far to play is Commander. That is the worst format to teach to a new player.
Why is it the worst format?
Because it's made to be multiplayer, not just 1v1. It's made to be like ideally 4 people playing together. You have a deck of 100 cards as opposed to 40 for limited or 60 for constructed formats like standard or modern or pauper. But Commander is 100 cards. One of them is like kind of your commander, this card that you build the whole strategy of the deck around. All of the cards in there can only be the colors that appear on that commander. And you can only have 1 copy of every card in the deck, as opposed to the 4 that you can have in any other format. You can have up to 4 of any one card, unless something says you can have any number of cards. Because there's entire decks that are built around just like 1 creature that you can have as many as you want of.
Yeah.
Like this one, I forget what it's called. Oh, Heir Apparent. And it's just this rabbit that every turn, if you play another one, like at the end of the turn, you make rabbit tokens equal to the number of rabbits you have. So they're literally multiplying.
Right.
And that's funny. And it's also extremely annoying to play against.
Right.
But that's an outlier. They call it a singleton format. And it's funny why it's called Commander, because the original name for it, and you'll still hear people call it that, is Elder Dragon Highlander, or EDH. And that comes from the original commanders being these elder dragons. And it's called Highlander because there can only be one.
I like how stupid Magic can be.
It's so dumb. And like, that's why I get this insecurity with friends and whatnot, that like, am I asking people too much to play with me? Are they getting annoyed that I'm rambling so much about this? This is my special interest. Like, are they going to get annoyed with me? Are they going to leave me? Like, it's very, I don't know. I would like to make more friends through the game and have more people to play with, because I feel like it's a lot to ask my friends every time we hang out. Like, so you want to get a game in quick? Like, you want to see if we can get 2 more people, get a pod going for Commander? Like, you know, for a lot of our friends or mutual friends, like a lot of them either haven't played in a long time or have never played. So I'm still learning and have to teach people and hope that they like it enough to want to play. So yeah, I would like to make some more Magic friends. And
that was actually going to be my next question, because I know that I've done my best to go and play with you at like the Spider-Man pre-release. Like, we're going to the Strixhaven one. I know we've gone to 20-sided just to sit and play for a bit too. But you've also you went to Lore and Eclipse pre-release on your own. And you've also gone to other events. So
Yeah.
have you not been connecting with people to have like ongoing relationships to play? Like, are you not exchanging
Kinda.
numbers, or how's that going? Yeah.
So this is very interesting. There's a lot of like stigma around Magic players that that they don't shower, use deodorant, that they're a bunch of, you know, fedora wearing incels.
That really
have
bothers
no
me.
social graces.
It feels like it's like I know we've joked about it in the past, and like we can joke about it because we know they're stereotypes, but that really frustrates me just because it makes me think about how people treated quote unquote nerds when you and I were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Comics are all the rage now because of Marvel, because of DC, and all these things, and like Image, and like. But when we were growing up, like if we had a comic book, like we would be nerds.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating that that stereotype still exists just because it's a trading card game. Like I thought we were past that, like socially speaking, you know?
Yeah. So that is funny because like same thing with like anime and manga and a lot of nerdy stuff that has now become mainstream. Not only is that like not fair to the people who had to endure all that and now have a bunch of normies ruining their thing that they love, but it also just breeds resentful nerds that become the Peter Thiels and Elon Musks of the world, you know? And it's just going to turn them vengeful and using that anger and lack of self-confidence to fuel their vengeance, to take over the world, to seek power. And I feel like you could see a lot of that in all kinds of nerdy fandoms because even though it's a stereotype, there are a lot of people like that. Like it comes from a real place, and it's kind of hard to say, you know, I guess the best example would be gamers in general, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to say justice for gamers, right, when they're out here being misogynistic and like saying like Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn looks like a man because she has like peach fuzz and the graphics are so good that you can see it. And it's like, okay, way to tell on yourself that you've never touched a woman before. But there's like, so it's a very weird time, I think, right now to be getting into Magic because there's a lot of these original players that have been around forever that may be resentful toward the people like you or me that are coming in because, oh, I saw Spider-Man on a card. That's cool. Like, just think about that from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Or even 25 years ago. Let's say before the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie came out. Think of everything that's happened since then. So now you're saying that in all that time, Spider-Man has become a mainstream thing enough to get people into Magic the Gathering, when before both of those things were social leprosy.
Right.
I think you get a mix of people that really want to welcome the new players and like are excited to have new people. And then there's gatekeepers that are like, what are you doing here? You're going to ruin it. You know, like if you keep buying this stuff, then Wizards of the Coast is going to notice and they're going to like keep selling Universes Beyond slop that takes away from what the game used to be. And I can't say that they're entirely wrong.
But I think there's more nuance to it than that.
Of course. And especially this is coming in as just a straight white dude. Every time I've gone to 20-sided and played Commander, there will be one, maybe two women there. And, you know, they make everybody like go around and introduce themselves and say their pronouns and everything. And it is a sea of he, hims to the point where I feel funny going he, they. But then every now and then you'll have like one woman or one trans woman or one non-binary person.
Yeah.
They're braver than the troops for showing up around all these nerds that could be like either condescending or trying to take it easy on them because they think like, oh, is it your first time? You know, and maybe they are new to it. How do you enter into a space like that? Which is why I love that 20-sided does Commander days that are just for women and femme people. Like that's so cool. Part of me is just like, it's for them. I get that, but I almost want to be there because I feel like it would just be a better hang. But I also haven't had a lot of bad experiences with people playing Magic. Like there have been a lot of very welcoming people that have been super into new people coming in, because it just means more people to play with, more people to trade with. And maybe some of them have a chip on their shoulders that they're like, oh, I used to be the best. Now you don't even, I won't even dignify you with a game because you were beneath me. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are losing their power fantasy or like going extra hard on the newbies because it makes them feel satisfied, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I have seen very little of that. And even the people who are like really abrasive and have no social graces can still be very helpful.
Yeah.
Like the pre-release we went to for Spider-Man, the first guy I ever played at a pre-release event could not be more welcoming. He was so nice. And I told him, like, this is my first pre-release. Can you look at my deck and tell me what I'm doing wrong here? And he just looked through and he was like, oh, you should be running that. That's really good. Then the next guy I played was very impatient, very like, come on, what are we doing here? But he still offered me advice at the end. It came from kind of a different place of just being like, why aren't you running this? But it was still helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like when I played Commander the last time a couple weeks ago, there was a girl there who had just gotten in with Lorwyn and had one precon. That was all she had to play. She upgraded it a little bit. She's been watching the command zone. She's fully embracing that she is learning. Mm-hmm. And suddenly I found myself on the other end of it, of being like, okay, let me toe this line a little bit of being helpful without overbearing, not condescending, and treat her like an opponent, but also a potential new friend. Yeah. And, we traded cards after, and
nice.
And she was one of like two really nice people that I met that day. Yeah, I traded with another girl, and I just happened to open a crazy card that day, and I got to show her and just be like, Chloe, look. And I pulled it up and she like lost her mind over it. So yeah, I think Magic is proof that autism is a spectrum.
Just like the colors of the lands that we use to play it. So right now, this is just a hobby for you, right?
Yeah.
Do you plan to keep it that way? Or are you going to go competitive? Or are you going to compete in any tournaments? Or what are you thinking?
I would have to learn so much more to even think about being competitive. Right now, mostly what I'm playing is Commander because I like the structure of how to make those decks. Mm-hmm. But there are brackets to Commander. They go 1 through 5. 1 being the absolute most basic. You're not really even trying to win. It's mostly just like, this is my horse deck, and every card is a horse,
That's my bracket for my dragon deck.
Well, see, now here's the thing. Dragons are crazy powerful, so you can easily get into higher brackets with that. And then it goes from 1 to 5, which is CEDH, or competitive EDH. And that's where there's like a meta and the card pool just suddenly gets very small because you're just focusing on the things that are like scientifically proven to win and make the game only last like 4 turns.
I see.
Not only is that kind of taking the fun out of the game, I think it's insanely expensive, because to get all those meta cards, those meta breaking cards, like you gotta pay a shit ton of money for them because they're so wanted. Like Pokemon and Magic have this opposite thing where Pokemon cards net value, like their trade value, is a lot higher based on the art or the Pokemon that it is. Mm-hmm. Like the popularity of that Pokemon. That's why Charizard just always historically costs a lot. When they print a Charizard, it's gonna be a highly valued collectible. Whereas Magic's, their card values tend to be more gameplay related. Like if it is highly wanted for its function, it is going to cost more. Not always. It depends on rarity and foil and art treatment and things like that. But for the most part, it is more tied to its actual use. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to spend even more money just to get in like a rat race of like a super competitive, fewer options form of the game. I'd rather just kind of come up with like strategies on my own using guides like EDH Rec or building my decks on Architect to see what works best for me based on like what I already have in my collection, what I'd be willing to spend on a single card, or maybe a pre-con that has a bunch of these cards that I want that are made to work together that could also go into one or multiple of my decks to build out those strategies. But, you know, that's kind of what's so fun about Commander is that it's not a rotating format like Standard.
Yeah.
And the ban list is pretty small. So like anything really could appear, and all, like so many things can be commanders that like anyone can come up with a strategy you've never seen before.
So funnily enough, what is, like you were saying earlier, what might be the hardest format to play is also perhaps the most fun too, because of all the variables for the exact same reason, right?
Yeah, there's a reason why it's the most popular. It's also kind of the most marketable. You know, it's an easy thing to sell when you have one iconic creature on the box to say, this is the commander. It's the marketing tool. It kind of sells itself.
Yeah.
You know, when a new set comes out and there's new legendary creatures in it that can be commanders, it kind of generates its own hype as to what the possibilities are of people building around it. So there's that versus like, you know, your standard crowd or your pauper crowd. Like pauper is only commons. So it's the cheapest to play, and you'd think it'd be the lowest power level, but it's actually a lot of fun because the cards that most people consider draft chaff that are just in your pack and then you like put in a box and forget about.
Yeah.
They actually get to see play here because that's all you can use is the commons. Right. It's like, so how do you chain these things together?
Yeah.
So that's part of what makes Magic the best card game. Like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon don't have these multiple formats like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't see getting competitive, but at the rate that I'm constantly improving and want to learn more, it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I just am happy with the possibility and just seeing kind of a wide open sky ahead of me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I appreciate the comment that you made about, it was EDH, right? Competitive EDH, where there's the limited amount of cards and trying to win in the fewest amount of turns. Mm-hmm. I've been getting a lot of videos in my YouTube algorithm of that, where it says win in 4 turns with these 5 cards that cost less than $10 and all these different things. And I'm newer to Magic than you are, but I'm there to have fun and like drink and eat. Like when we played Commander at your place, like there's a social aspect, like you're supposed to be having fun. Like it's like you're playing a board game, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm getting these videos in my feed, which like granted, the professor of Tolarian Community College is fantastic. Like that could be its own like documentary channel. But
yeah,
these one-off videos where like they're trying to essentially say, this is how to win Magic and be the best and the cheapest and fewest amount. Like, I'm so happy that you said that takes the fun out of it, because
I think so.
It feels like it's like a vacuum. It's just like sucking, like, why am I doing this if not to have fun? Why am I spending my time and money if not to enjoy it? So why am I racing through it, right?
Especially in a multiplayer format like Commander, where everybody wants to get the chance to make their deck do the thing, which just means like do the thing it's designed to do.
Right. It's similar to D&D. Like when Thomas was our game master during our last season, and he like really set us up to have each of these moments where we got to be the hero or do the cool thing.
Yeah.
You want to do the cool thing. You want to be cinematic and epic. Like that's the whole point of it. It's a fantasy game. So go and do something that's exceptional. I'm sorry, you set me on a diatribe that I didn't know I had in me about having fun.
It's because when you're starting, like it's so easy to fall into the pitfalls of like, I just need to take somebody out of the game to prove that I am good. Like that's the mistake I made in my very first Commander game. And I paid for it immediately because I tried bulking up. Like, okay, I got in Magic because of Final Fantasy. I needed a Tifa Lockhart card. Like that was non-negotiable. I had to have her. So I put her in a bird deck because it was all landfall. Landfall just being like every time you play a land, something triggers. So, and lands are the things you play to get the mana to cast your spells. Are we all caught up? Okay, good. So I'm there trying to make a big splashy turn where Tifa, every time you play a land, she doubles her power. So I was trying to get this big splashy turn. I took her power up from 1 to doubled it all the way up to 32.
That's insane.
Intending to kill this one guy next to me that had all green, big, stompy creatures that were just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But then I saw that one of the creatures he could block with had first strike, and it had a high enough power to kill Tifa without her being able to get her 32 damage in. So I looked to the other two guys, and I'm like, I just don't want to be out first. So I'm going to, like, you two flip a coin, and whoever loses, I'll send Tifa at. The guy who lost the coin flip had a blocker and a spell and some unspent mana, so he cast something that wiped my board. And the damage I did to him wasn't enough to kill him. It left him with like 2 or 3 life left. And then the next turn, that dude with all those big creatures that was next to me, he was going next, and now I have no board to defend myself, so I am out first.
Yeah.
And that's what you get when you're trying to just prove yourself and ruin the fun for people. It's like,
yeah,
although to be fair, I kind of put myself in a corner there because like I was doing threat assessment and trying to go after the person who was the biggest threat at the table, because you don't want to punch down. Why would you bother like going after the easy prey? You know, you want to take out the person who could take everybody out. I just didn't understand how first strike worked. So I just wasted my whole turn getting Tifa huge. All I could do was swing with it, and I left it up to chance who I attacked and didn't see unspent mana that could fuck up my plan. So those are all hard lessons that I learned, that I won't make those mistakes next time, you know?
Yeah. You started Magic, or you started like really getting into Magic almost a year ago now.
Yeah. Before
then, even on this episode and previous episodes, you've talked about screenwriting. You're obviously a songwriter with the LVP.
Mm-hmm.
You do other things that are hobbies that you've made, like, I'm not saying this disparagingly, you've made like some money off of, or like, and I'm saying that with you being in a band with you, because I've made the same some money, right?
Yeah.
But how do those hobbies, because I guess they're hobbies or passions too. They could be passions, because I think magic sounds like a passion for you as well as a hobby.
Yeah.
How do those hobbies and those passions differ from Magic for you?
So this is kind of sad in that I don't think any of those things even come close to Magic.
Why?
When I was in college, I started as a magazine journalism major because I originally wanted to be a music journalist. Basically, like I wanted to write for Rolling Stone. As I started taking journalism classes, especially news writing classes, I found myself very bored and uninterested, and I didn't like the structure or the style. But I also had these friends that were in the film program, and I had done a little theater in high school, so I would act in their short film projects, and I found myself really getting interested in that. And I'd always collected movies, but being around it, being in it, and then seeing my friends that would direct me and things and then sit down to edit their videos, all of it excited this like curiosity in me. And I found myself in my first semester sophomore year being like, okay, I'm going to take a film class and a news writing class at the same time. Whichever one I like more, I'm going to make my major. The other I'm going to count as an elective. I would dread going to the news writing class, and when I went to the film class, I would work on my film projects. I would sit down at an editing bay, and I would be 10 steps ahead of myself just thinking about how to put it together. I was so excited. I felt like I was working on something that touched something in me, you know? None of it was good, but it was mine, and it could get better. I could see how it could get better by learning through doing. So I've experienced that kind of difference before of like what passion really feels like. And the thing is, passions change with time. You know, you just kind of find yourself more or less interested in something. It feel more fulfilled by it, depending on how old you are, what your circumstances in life are at the time. And there have been times where music was very fulfilling to me because I felt excited about the possibilities. I am now finding myself at a time where music doesn't do that for me anymore. Mm-hmm. That I don't listen to music anymore. I listen to YouTube videos about Magic the Gathering. And it sounds ridiculous that this card game that is literally designed to suck my money away touches at something in me that I feel uses a satisfying portion of my brain, something that where it doesn't feel daunting to work on getting better. Mm-hmm. You know, I've always put these limits on myself as a musician, as a songwriter, as an actor, like all kinds of things that I've done that I've always thought, well, I'll never be that good. And I didn't want to admit that to myself for a long time. You know, I didn't want to admit that maybe these things that I'm doing aren't core passions for me or like some kind of calling for me to do. Mm-hmm. And it's not healthy to just keep lying to myself about it. And that difference is really being highlighted by how much I love magic, because I don't have to think like, oh, I need to pick up the guitar. It's not like that. It's like I have the natural curiosity to look something up, to study up on what the new mechanics are ahead of this pre-release for Secrets of Strixhaven. That when I have downtime at work, I'll be like on EDH Rec looking up what the top cards are for this commander, and then like, should I buy that? Should I like try to chase it in a booster pack? Like, should I get this precon that has a bunch of things in it that I can use? Yeah, there's limits that I put on it monetarily that I'm like, okay, I don't want to get that good because of the money it would require to do so. But it naturally makes me want to do more, and I feel that passion for it. And to the point where I'm like, maybe like I did with switching my major to film, I can find an inroad in that. I knew I wanted to write about music as a magazine journalist. Maybe I could write movies about music. That was my whole thinking of getting into film. I was like, I'm going to go with the screenwriting angle and I'm going to write movies about music. So that way it still stays true to me and redirects the focus more where it feels fulfilling. Magic could very much be the same thing, where like I've always had an interest in creating a YouTube channel and like doing content. The latest idea I've had is like, okay, how would I stand out as a Magic content creator when I just got into it because of Universes Beyond? If I haven't even been into it for a year, what would I do that's different? Well, what if I had a channel or Instagram page or something that's all about how I would design cards for an outside property? Mm-hmm. And because sometimes I'll just sit around and think like, what colors would the characters in Clair Obscure be?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, there's 5 main party members. So they could each be one of the 5 colors of Magic. But then Lune, she would obviously be blue, but her whole thing is using different elements. So could she be a 5-color commander, or would she be a blue card that can be a 5-color commander because she would have a different effect with all these different mana colors and things like that? And how does that tie into flavor and function for like it matching the property of what she does in the video game versus how it would work in Magic? And then I'm like, if I'm just doing that for fun, why don't I turn that into content, you know? Because people make fan cards all the time. Why not make videos of like, this is how I would do an entire set around The Legend of Zelda, you know? Like, because I don't know if Wizards is ever going to get to it. They might. At this rate, they're fucking SpongeBob cards. So why not just do that? And again, this is just an idea I have now. I don't know if I'll do anything with that, but as I'm getting older, I have to be honest with myself about my priorities and my passions. And for some reason, little bits of cardboard really just speak to me.
I appreciate all of your vulnerability, and I don't think that was sad at all, actually. Sorry, because it sounds like you felt limited by songwriting and by screenwriting. Is because it sounded like you said that there got to a point where like you hit as far as you could go, and then like now it becomes I have to pick up the guitar.
Yeah.
Whereas you have this natural leaning towards magic, this natural curiosity, I think is how you phrased it. So I'm sorry that those things, those hobbies, I guess those former passions made you feel limited in some way, shape, or form for whatever reason it might be. But I'm glad that magic makes you feel limitless in contrast to them.
Well, thank you. And I'm sorry that you have to hear this from the songwriter of your band. So, because I'm like,
hey man,
you know, I know you're going to ask me this question. I just have to say it live on the pod that like, hey man, I fucking hate our band now. I'm mostly kidding. But you see what I mean, right? Like, I know you're a creative. You've gone through these bouts of like, am I any good? What's the point? Like, imposter syndrome, it hits real hard, especially when you see other people you don't think deserve it get way more success. I'm not going to say who, but we know what we're talking about. But also, what does it even mean to deserve success? Blah, blah, blah. All you can do is do you. And I don't know, maybe I'm just running away from problems by being like, oh, if I put this many +1/+1 counters on Tifa, then she won't get killed by something apparently. And then it doubles even more. You know, it could very much be an avoidance thing, or it could be tying into an unfulfilled childhood passion thing. Who knows? It could be everything.
Based on what you said about your experience with Yu-Gi-Oh growing up and how your parents would take it away, I'm just gonna pull out my Sigmund Freud hat for a second and say I feel like you are definitely scratching that childhood itch that you didn't have control over. But like you said, when you were in college, you had your own money, you had your own job. You're an adult now. It's the same thing. You get cards when you get cards, and you know you have to go do your job. And if in your head that says, I'm going to go do my job, that might piss me off today, but I get to go get a pack of magic cards after work. Great.
Or on my lunch break, because there's a card shop right there.
Oh, that's awesome. Even better. But I think that's fine. And frankly, you sound happier talking about magic than you have sounded talking about music in a while. So I don't think it's an avoidant thing at all. I think it's just a realization. And that's just like from my outside perspective of seeing how you interact with the world and whatnot. And also, as your bassist, man, I don't even do anything in the band anyway. No one knows I'm there.
Shut up.
It's 2 extra hours per week that I get to go sit on my couch and like dissociate from the school day that I just witnessed. So I'm good either way. I'm good to practice or not. I'll be there either way. I do have one last question for you though.
Sure.
It's going to sound like a crappy question, and I honestly phrased it that way on purpose because I think there are people in the world that do have this point of view because for whatever reason, people just want to upset others or they have a cynical bent or whatever, but that's not the point of us being here. So what would you say if someone called or someone came up to you and said that magic is dumb or it's irrational? But like, how would you respond to that?
I know.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you stop there?
Everything is. If you think about it. I mean, like, I don't get sports. I think sports are fucking stupid. That's just my opinion. I don't think grown men deserve multi-million-dollar contracts to throw a ball around, and then entire industries can pop up overnight for people to gamble away their entire life savings on how those men do at throwing the ball around. I think the whole thing is dumb, but that's just me, man. Like, and I get it if you think, you know, wasting money on cardboard with pictures on them is dumb. I mean, if you're just afraid of the math involved, then like I can't help you. But like, I get that it's not for everybody, and I just like to test the waters and see who it could be for, because there is a lot of stigma around the game and people who play trading card games, and that buying booster packs is a form of gambling, but at least it gives you a physical result no matter what. Maybe you pull all crap, but at least you have something for it. It's not literally just spending money you hope to get more of back. That's why I've never understood like gambling at casinos or on betting or anything. I feel like that's a complete waste, where at least with Magic cards, you never know what some random crappy card could actually fit into a deck that you build years later, My partner doesn't even like Magic, and like I keep saying, like, so do you want to try playing it? And she's like, nah, this is a you thing. This, like, sometimes we just need things for ourselves, and I think that's for you. But there is a great YouTube channel that kind of combines two of our interests. She got me into RuPaul's Drag Race, and two contestants that have been on that, Bosco and Irene the Alien, are two big Magic nerds that started a channel called Spell Slayers, and now they play Commander games with other YouTubers I like the Prof from Tulare Community College, or Rachel Weeks from Command Zone, or Olivia Gobert-Hicks. One time they had Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast on it, and he got in full drag to do it, and he had a great drag name. It was GG Well Played.
Nice.
and it's great, and it's so that's like the one Magic thing I can watch without, because I'm like, hey, this is our kind of combination of our interests here. And enough of it, and because she loves me, enough of it is interesting to her that she's like, wait, so what does that mean? And then I get to be like, well, you see. And then I get to explain, and she's like, oh God, why did I ask? But other times she's more open to it. And that's what I think is so great about Magic, but really could be applied to all kinds of hobbies. Having an open mind, this is nothing profound, but having an open mind really can just clue you in on something you didn't think you would like before. Because as much as I don't like sports, Al really does. And she's played soccer and rugby. And I do kind of like soccer. I get bored when I try to watch it, but like I get it. I played it in high school. I get it. Rugby, I had no background knowledge at all. At first I was interested in it just to like get to know her because I thought she was cute. And now I'm like, I would go to a rugby game with you.
They're fun.
It seems it. And it weirdly makes way more sense than American football.
Yes.
Like it's a cool sport. I've taken her to a hockey game back home because the Utica Comets are the farm team, the AHL team for the New Jersey Devils, and she's from New Jersey. So like, as much as sports aren't my thing, I would still try something for someone I love and care about. Still respect my own boundaries too, just like she does, but like there's no harm in curiosity. And I think with Magic expanding into so many IPs and everybody loving some kind of property, everybody has some price. I think I truly believe that. I think everyone can be persuaded to try Magic if the one intellectual property they love was in the game.
Sure. You could definitely get some sort of like sports head in if they had like a Yankees pre-con, you know?
I think they put baseball in Duskmorn.
That's
so
funny.
There's like a Jace Balerin planeswalker that is a baseball player for some reason. I think that, that's the thing. Like sometimes they swing and a miss, but
yeah.
They try different things, and some of it is desperate and cash grabby, and other things really touch on something for people.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for asking.
And congratulations again to your ex-girlfriend, now fiance, and you, and for all of the magic you do and do not share together.
Oh, yeah, she's tied to a Magic player now. Oh, poor thing. I feel bad for her.
Well, at least you use deodorant, right?
Most of the time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Filler. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review this episode to help others find it. For more recommendations and explorations of media we love, Go to afterschoolspecial.xyz and follow us on Instagram @fillerpod. See you next time.